Good morning, Viral Visionaries. It is 5 a.m. here in the Phoenix area, and last week, I got to tell you, we had this overcast sky for a good portion of the week. It was rainy, it was windy. When I was here at my desk looking outside, I could see that kind of bluish gray tone that the valley had. I could hear the wind in my office, and it got me thinking about brand. So this week, I want to talk about what is brand, because some people will think it's just a logo, right? But that's not actually true. It's your legacy. It's how people think of you. It's how they remember you. Do they trust you? And do they choose you over your competitors? And the rain really tied that together for me because, I looked out the window and I immediately got these memories, the smells, the sensations of being out in the rain. Actually being in Austria when I was a kid, running through hay fields when it was coming down like cats and dogs, and we dove into a hay bale and we just kind of stayed inside the hay bale for a little bit until it passed. That is all very, very real to me, even though it's something that happened many, many years ago. It was like, I could smell the hay. I could feel the cold, wet drops hitting my skin. And that, while it's not a brand that's just Mother Nature, is the same power that your brand can have. When you think of a unique brand story that you craft that these large companies have, like when I see this, I'm not going to show you the label because of copyright, but this is sparkling water that I have sitting on my desk. And when I see that label, it takes me back to a tiny town in Texas where my grandma lived. It was a military town. I spent a lot of time there growing up, visiting my grandparents, and that's the power of that brand. So how do you go about building a brand, right? It's not just your image. It's not just your logo, like I said. It's really everything. So it's how you talk, your outward appearance, your social media engagement, like all the stuff that goes into it. But more than that, it's what other people are saying about you. What I mean is your brand is your promise. And if you keep the promise, people will say good things about you many times. If you break your promise, that is going to spread like wildfire, and people are going to be talking about that. That's how you're going to be known. So your brand sets the expectations for your clients. It's the experience they can count on, whether they're walking into your office or visiting your website. It's that consistency throughout, right? They know who they're getting. They know what they're getting. And it's what sets you apart. It's why somebody chooses you over competition. It's your unique edge. So how do you actually build that brand? Here's the step-by-step. And I will say this is what we do at LiveViral Media. So, as far as who am I to be speaking on this, I've built many, many brands. I've worked with many multinational Fortune 500 companies like Swift Transportation. I did the Best Western Plus photo shoot way back in the day when they were rolling out those hotel rooms. The Panhandle of Florida, I was out there and did the hotel photography and some branding work. I have worked with musicians and videographers, and we've done stuff that's landed in Rolling Stone magazine. So I've worked with brands very, very small. You might be watching this and you might just be a solopreneur and a one-stop shop, where you do everything. Or you might be a large brand watching this, or a representative from a large brand, I should say. So if you need help, give us a call. If not, if you're doing it on your own, here are the steps, the step-by-step instructions that we'll just give away. So first, you define your purpose, right? What problem are you solving for your clients? This is the why and the foundation of every strong brand. For me personally, I didn't just stumble into a creative agency. I decided to start it when I was in high school because this was a challenge, right? Branding, getting my message out. How do you reach the masses that you may not have in your immediate social network, right? So those were all challenges and problems that I saw other people having, and I wanted to address as well. And the easy answer is I got into this because it was a struggle and a challenge that I had that I noticed other people were having as well, and it was a passion for me. So the problem is, how do people define themselves, and then how do they get their work known? There's multiple parts to communication, right? So there's what I'm thinking, there's what I say, the message that's being transmitted, there's what the other person hears, and then there's what they interpret. And the same is true throughout the brand, right? So what is your intent, and how is that being communicated? And that's where the breakdown usually happens. So, comedians, musicians, A lot of performers and artists have this issue where they have the thing in their head, and then I talk to them, and they're like, well, my comedy's hilarious, right? How do I get it in front of people, though? And that's where that challenge comes in. Knowing your audience is huge because you need to know who are you serving, right? So if you are a dental practice, or if you're, a law firm, for instance, who are the people that you're targeting? If you're personal injury, you're not going to be targeting people who are looking for copyright infringement law, right? Just that's not who your target audience is, and you're not going to be speaking to them the same way. That's why when you see these billboards, you hear the commercials on TV or radio, the personal injury firms are not only prevalent, but very unique in their messaging. So then, speaking of billboards, is crafting your visual identity. What are your logos, your color schemes, your fonts, and your designs, right? They need to reflect your values. They need to resonate with your audience. When you see LiveViral Media's logo, it is basically inspired by a camera lens, because that's how we got our origin, right? So everything from the name, LiveViral Media, we do a lot of live streaming. We help people go viral, and we're a media company in the sense that we create, produce, and distribute, strategically for our clients. So the name there is all encompassing. LiveViral Media tells you exactly what we do. The logo is based on the inspiration of a camera lens, like what I'm looking into right now. I spent a lot of time staring at cameras, and the lens is like seared into my mind. So that's the inspiration for the visual identity there for us. But whatever yours is, right? If you're, again, a dental practice, law firm, don't just do like Johnson and Smith Law and then just have your name, like the words. That is incomplete. So it's good to have, and not bashing your name if that's your name, but you need to then build a visual identity that goes with it, right? Develop your brand voice, and this is huge. If you live in the Phoenix area, there is a certain attorney who I am not going to name, but he's tatted up. He wears cut off jean jacket type things, rides a motorcycle, and I think has a billboard with a picture of him and his Harley. Again, personal injury, but that is his brand voice is, hey, I am so-and-so, almost said his name. I'm so-and-so, and I'm like one of you, right? I've been there, I ride, I get it. And it's very, very informal. And that's part of the reason, or a large part of the reason why he's successful. Also a good attorney, right? But getting people to call is half the battle. So are you very professional, right? If you're doing corporate law, if you're doing family law, certain categories there, you want to be very professional and formal, and have your style where you're still approachable, but not like as approachable as Harley cut off sleeves guy. So make sure your tone is consistent everywhere. And again, that's website, social media, in-person interactions, and in-person is where a lot of people get caught up. So just make sure you're staying consistent. Consistency isn't just about visuals, right? It's also about delivering the same message, your tone, and the quality every single time. That's how trust is built. And personally, it was a brand strategy decision for me to do away with business cards many, many years ago, because think about how many business cards you have that you never look at, right? I didn't want to add to that. So maybe I'll do a video about how I network in the future when I do in person. But basically, when I did have business cards that I carried, I opted for a very thick piece of paper called Trifecta. It was a super sick, but also super thick stock, which came from a printer that we used in Texas. It was multi-layered, so it was like two colors, or two of the same color, like black, and then had a sandwich layer of like green or red, and then another black layer. Very thick. It had almost like a felt feel. It was very pricey compared to like just a normal stock, and this is the same concept as metal business cards, plastic business cards, that sort of thing. But when people felt it, almost every single time, they took it just thinking, I'm going to stick this in the bag or whatever. But it made them do a double take. They grabbed my card and they were like, oh, wow, what is this? And then they actually look at it. So that consistency of high quality products is something that we captured from the get-go, because we invest in what we do. We put out good product, whether it's our own business card or a product for a client. And then there was a period of time where every letter I sent out, I was doing a custom wax seal. So I would have the envelope, I would stamp it, and then it would go out with a nice, like, actual melted wax seal. Now nobody uses paper, so that's we've done away with that. But I actually have the stamp still on my desk, and it's something that was custom made in Vienna. So, for us, quality is important. That's our consistency, is regardless of if we're building you a website, if we're doing PR and branding strategy, or we're doing print products, right? Everything is going to be the highest quality possible. So let me leave you with this. What is your brand identity? What is your brand voice? And what is your consistency? Think about it. Let me know. If you're watching this on the Viral Edge newsletter, then just reply to this email. Let's have a conversation, because I'm curious to hear more about your brand, your questions, and go from there and just have a conversation. And if you're watching this online, thanks for joining us. Go to danweeks.com or liveviralmedia.com. That's my company's website, and you can sign up for our newsletter as well. We do one of these for newsletters every week, and we just give away basically what we do and how we do it. So if you want the nitty-gritty on any of these topics, let me know. We do have a select community that you can get into. It's invite only, but we talk about all this stuff: branding, marketing, strategy, website design, and so on and so forth. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.